right, let's see if we are up and running. Checking my signal here real quick. Not sure if the music's too loud or not, so hopefully someone will give me an idea if that's a problem or not. Let's go ahead and get this thing up and running. Looks like I'm seeing a starting soon screen, so that should click in here any moment now, and when it does, I'll be able to speak more blah freely. Am I? Nope, still showing as pending. So I'm just gonna keep pressing social media buttons and wait for the thing to populate so that we can start doing the do. Almost done here with pressing my buttons, and then maybe the screen will roll over and we can see what it is that we got going on. So one more here, and now maybe. All right, hey, it looks like we're live. That's fantastic. Mic check, mic check. All right, hey, it looks like we're live. Yeah, that sounds really good. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and drop that down. The volume there, and let me double check my medias here. And I got something badooping at me. I want to turn that off. There we go. Okay, cool. So, hey, my name is Theurgy. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them. I publish them online. I've been a DM for 37 years. I've been building content for 5th edition for 7 years. This is the most recent book that we've produced back in March called Spelljammer, Combat and Exploration. This is a deep dive into how to run combat using 5th edition rules you already know with ships that scale to 15,500 feet in size. So looking at just basic combat rules, the first thing we do is we convert large-scale ships to scale that we're familiar with. Here's a deck of a hammerhead ship at the 5-foot scale. Oh, by the way, for anyone that's interested, I'm at Theurgy on the X Twitter platform. You can follow me there. Coupons and stuff like that I post for my stuff. Here on YouTube, like, subscribe, bell icon, get notifications. I'm here 10 times per week across the week. The full playlist for the current Spelljammer design stream, all 389 episodes. If you want to tackle that, you can here. Let's see, Spellpoint Warlocks, Pacts and Patrons of Ravnica, Theurgy ability check casting, color mana Spellpoint variant rules, and currently what we are using is the Spelljammer combat and exploration mechanics for fleet, squadron, and dogfighting. Here's the book cover on the DMsGuild, and here is the actual PDF that I built. So we have 3 scales that we normally work with when we're dealing with combat. It's 5-foot scale where people are running around on deck and stabbing each other with knives. Here's the size of these ships at that scale. And then here's the 50-foot scale where you can see this is a fighter craft. It's a warbird fighter craft. It occupies a 10 by 10 space at the 5-foot scale, so it's a 50-foot ship. Here you can see it occupies a single 50-foot square at the 50-foot scale, and the hammerhead ship, 250 feet long, fits in a 5 by 5 space at the 50-foot scale. And then if we continue scaling out again at the 500-foot scale, kind of like when you're in a dungeon and you've got a 5-foot tile and you've got a pixie attacking you, and that pixie is only 2 feet tall. Typically, the way it's going to be expressed on your dungeon map is as a token that occupies the full space of the token of that square. Similarly, here with our scaling combat system, this is the same token at different sizes. It's just the scale that you're operating in at the moment to be able to have close quarter combat, on deck combat, or large scale at range combat. But obviously, if this is a 500-foot square and this fighter craft is only 50 feet, you could cram a bunch of ships into a single 500 or even 50-foot space, right? Depending on the size of the ship. And so that is correct. This last session, we built these 10 by 10 base plates, which are clouds. You can see them jilting base plates. Right, so here's some 50-foot scale maps that we built, just base plates to place multiple ships on. 10 by 10 space at the 50-foot scale. A 200-foot star moth can easily fit inside of a 500-foot space. So you could actually fit easily 4 star moths into one 500-foot square space, which would be represented down here as a single star moth, as a token representing this 4-ship squadron here at the 500-foot scale. Here you can see Vocath's crab. It's his base that converts. Hold on, for those that aren't familiar with this already, from Light of Xaryxian. This is Vocath's base in Light of Xaryxian in the 3rd part, where you're gathering a fleet of allies together to attack the Xaryxian elves, and then the elves show up and try to steal your MacGuffin. So you gotta deal with that somehow. The way that the story goes is that you lose your MacGuffin, and you gotta go get it back and save the day. But this is just a tower, a space station that's floating in space. You can see all these massive crystals on the other side, on the underside of this tower, and this is an arena where the characters conduct combat with creatures to demonstrate their personal might, to prove that they're somebody worth following. And then let's keep that like that, and there and there. But the way that we have it is that base can unfurl into a combat crab. Well, it's got 6 legs and 2 claws. Here's where the tower is. Here's the arena, and all those crystals that were on the underside now unfurl and are stabby legs, and also unfurls the giant claws, and then the landing decks, the landing docks for all the ships retract into the structure of the ship so that they don't get broken off on accident. And here's all the ships of allies. Here's your ship. Here's the Last Breath. And then all the other ships like the Tarrasque over here. And I don't remember the names of all of them. But there's a total of 8 ships that your team can have that are stationed at this base, enjoying the arena combat that your characters show up and perform with your MacGuffin. But at some point, the Astral Elves, the Xaryxians, show up. And here at the 500-foot scale, you can see them closing distance to come fetch the MacGuffin from your characters. Hey, Freelance, how you doing? Yeah, crab turned out great. Good token, and we have all the layers for it in here as well. I think it's 9 layers total, like 9 decks across the ship. So that's this will all be on the DMsGuild for people to grab if they want. But at the 500-foot scale, the crab fills the space. While this is a token of ships, this is a token of ships, and this is a token of ships. This is a squadron. This is a squadron. This is a squadron. This is a squadron of, again, 4-star elves, and there's 3 squadrons total. So we have 3 allied squadrons, 3 enemy squadrons, and Vocath's battle crab, which is a 500-foot space unto itself. So it's a massive crab. Here's Squadron 1. Here's Squadron 2. Here's Squadron 3. There's a big difference in power scaling between these 3 squadrons, because there's 12 ships total, so 3 squadrons of 4 ships each, and versus these, which is all of these ships can obviously easily fit inside a 500-foot space as well. So it's really like this squadron and this squadron are probably about equally matched. This squadron and this squadron probably equally matched. But there's 3 of these and only 2 of you proportionately. Luckily, the 3rd squadron is Prince Zelith, and if he watches 2 of his squadrons get smashed by these allies, he's going to be like, I'm just gonna bail and get out of here and save my skin, because I want to be emperor someday. So I'm going to run away, because you should hate me because I'm a coward, right? Cowardice is a loathsome character trait that generally denotes villains in the campaign versus heroes, right? So Zelith will run away because he's a coward, and we should want to hate him. So that's what he does. But if he happens to defeat your team, he will perform the adventure as written in Light of Xaryxian. Gloat, throw his weight around, bully the team, and then take their MacGuffin back to Xaryxian with them. So the team is then motivated to go chase after him. If your team is capable of defeating the elves without losing any ships, everyone that's there automatically allies with you. It's like, yeah, let's go finish the job. If for every ship that's lost, they will continue to help you. However, you owe them a ship before you get more of their ships, and you have to do something extra for them. And whatever that extra thing is already written into the Light of Xaryxian for each faction. But we can also add additional faction missions. I think other people have already created alternate faction missions, which is definitely worth looking into. I might do that as a thing to do, so like to check out other DMsGuild stuff to see what other people have done and see how we can translate that stuff into the system that we use, and maybe then offer them an opportunity to bundle with me. But so we have the 500-foot scale down here in this little corner of the map, and then we've got these 50-foot scales here. So that's what happened. That's a lot of what this book is about. But now that the 5-foot scale combat, the 500-foot and the 50-foot scale can be framed the same way as a 5-foot scale battle can be. Then we can translate the mechanics of the book into action economy and movement that we're already familiar with normal D&D rules, by using alternate ship rolls that aren't based on what you do, like what your role on the ship is. It's not like that. It's not about like, I'm the captain so I can do these things, I'm the cook so I can do these things. In combat, it's about how are you using your action economy, because we have actions, bonus actions, reactions, movement, and object interaction. And these 5 different action economies that are inside of a round of combat can be implemented for different effects. Like, you can use the steering wheel to move your ship because you're piloting it, right? A fleet commander can use verbal commands to take command of a squadron, and then issue orders to move the squadron, or to like you can move the squadron as a verbal command, and then you can issue commands to attack or to ready an attack, or with your attack actions, you can make multiple attacks per round with your ranged weapons. Bonus actions, you can also make attacks, and you have the reload actions. So you can see there's not a lot of actions as a siege commander you can take, because these are siege weapons that are basically on the deck of your ship. But the squadron commander can use object interaction with the orrery station that you would use to oversee your fleet. You can use that to command them to move to new locations. You can use all your action economy here, just like a pilot can, to break up between movement actions and attack actions, and then defensive reactions here. And then a support character can use their actions, bonus actions, and reactions to give advantage through help actions, or to like take damage for a character, or to give them a second saving throw to maintain concentration, stuff like that. So we use our action economy, and you can use both actions as a squadron commander and a support character and a pilot and a siege commander all in the same round if you have enough actions. And every character can then, in tandem, work on these things together. You can have multiple characters commanding ships inside of a squadron. You can have multiple characters providing support to each other as you try to execute actions. You can have multiple characters commanding siege machines on the deck of your ship to attack other ships one-on-one. And you can have multiple characters that are piloting the ship together in tandem, so you can get more movement and maneuverability out of the ship, or you can have more melee combat with the weapons that are built into your ship, or you can do more dodging to evade damage coming your way. So you have multiple characters that can pool their action economy together to be able to accomplish different tasks. Or you can have them break them up in their own individual numbers and then parse out actions per round. So you can either do like this group initiative, like you could say like everyone's going to chip in their bonus action together to do stuff together as a fleet, but then your standard action and your reactions you can use at whatever role, like whatever station your character's at. So it's a fun way to be able to use the actual action economy you already know from Dungeons and Dragons to implement that as a ship. Like as though this was like a dragon that was large enough for all of your characters to fit on, and then the dragons flying around mountains and forests and stuff, fighting other flying creatures, and your characters are on the back of the dragon, firing their weapons or telling the dragon to go a certain way, or like breathe your weapon on that, like to command. The ship basically becomes like an artificial creature that everyone's riding on. That's basically the mechanics of it. So I truly cannot wait until I get to use all this. I already got hey, great, I'm so glad to hear it. But I've yet to run a Spelljammer game again. Well, I really hope it's satisfying to you. I'm going to be playtesting this battle, actually, if you're interested in participating. I will need a group of 3 to 5 characters, ideally 4. to take command of Vocath's crab and these squadrons to fight the Star Elf, the Astral Xaryxians when they show up, to beat them out, to beat them into submission and drive them away, to prove that you guys are worthy of earning more ships to have a larger battle, to take the fight back to Xaryxia and kick the fuck out of them. So this is a fun little way to be able to flip the script that's default inside of Lattice Xaryxis, that your characters get bullied. There's a lot of this getting bullied happening in 5th edition adventures. Your characters don't seem very heroic. They're not saving people from genocide. They're not saving people from slavery. They're not ending terrorist activity. They're getting bullied by bad guys and getting vengeance. I like to flip the script on that. I want you to feel like you're actually doing good for the world, and that you're making bad people get punished for doing bad things. Yeah. So anyway, I'm a little opinionated in that sense. But so that's the basic ideas of that, and then there is the fleet combat. These are navigation buttons that work, and then we have the table of content, of course, which are all hyperactive as well. But let's go to the the spellcasting chapter and go back up into the combat chapter, because this is where the fleet mechanics are at. So there you go. Fleet mechanics, multiple squadrons inside of one space, is called type formation. You can't directly attack a single ship unless you are occupying space with that squadron's square. So like this fleet of star mobs adjacent to the enemies, they would actually have to cross the line, as it were. Oops, that's the wrong scale. Hold on. Free transform. Where's my? There we go. Free transform. Rotate. Clockwise. There you go. Okay, so these two 500-foot squares adjacent to each other, the star mobs can attack this scorpion when they occupy space together. So either like this, or like really getting inside of there. Like this is technically overlapping space, because this occupies a 3x3 space. So these guys are starting to like pile over each other and ram. But as long as you can just stick a foot into one square into another ship's space, you're close enough that now these star mobs can actually target this scorpion. These ships back here are not occupying space with this squadron, so these ships back here, this separate squadron, would be able to fire ranged weapons into this space. But whoever's commanding this space, your character commanding these squadrons, gets to choose which of the ships takes damage. And you could you could divide up the damage amongst multiple ships, so you can control how much damage each of them has until they get so close that they can invade your space. And now you have to, if the characters were, I'm not going to break apart the squadron blocks and push one, but like if your characters are, like, say, in the living ship over here, you could have this ship fly over and then get inside the star mob space, and then start at the 5-foot scale, start attacking them directly. So you can target a ship that you want to take out, and you can get that close, and you can break up your action economy to now squadron maintain formation, fire a volley at those ships over there, and meanwhile we're just going to start using spellfire and archery arrows using our action economy otherwise to start raining death down onto that ship specifically. But while we're operating at the 500-foot scale, or your ships aren't occupying space together, we're at the 500-foot scale, so it's basically a squadron attacking another squadron, and their hit points and their damage gets pooled together until you zoom in and start breaking their action economy apart into individual ships, and then zooming in again and breaking apart the action economy into individual characters on deck of a single ship. You can zoom in or out as you wish, depending on what kind of a narrative the DM wants to present the battle as. So, being at the climax, the conclusion of the campaign, it kicks off with a fleet-on-fleet battle at the home starbase of the Xaryxia Empire. It's fitting to have a smaller scale fleet battle like that to prove that you know how to deal with the elves, right? Because you fight them in the first chapter. When you escape your home, you fight one, maybe up to 3 star mobs. And then again, you encounter them here, this time against 12-star mobs. And then in the final battle will be against 30-star mobs. So you're continuing, as your character gains level, you're continuing to escalate the scale of battle your characters are capable of performing. So that's the idea. So that's the basic framework. We have our fleet mechanics here for scaling and dealing damage. Here is siege damage and mounted weapon damage that is calculated by the number of squares that your ships occupy inside the space, up to 10. When you get up to 10 squares worth of ships, you're making a new squadron. So with these Star Elves, they're in a 4x4 ship and another 4x4. This is 4x4 ships. So 2 of those is 8. You can't squeeze in a third. So these squadrons are 8x8 squadrons, meaning they're going to deal 8 dice of damage times 10. So we're going to start actually plotting out what these ships do. So let's go with Xaryxian, and then let's go with allies. We're going to have the team squadron of the living ship and the last breath, which is a galleon. Team squad, and then we have I don't know, bug squad is the scorpion, and the galleon. Oh, we're gonna call that, yeah, let's call that last, we'll call that last breath because it's a named ship that you take control of. Last breath and second wind. Those are the 2 ships that you guys command. And these things are 3x3 and 2x2. The scorpion is a 2x2. The galleon is a 3x3. And then we have bird squad, which is the Shrike, 3x3, and the Wasp, which is 3x3, and the Lamprey. Is that right? Is that how it paces out? Wasp and Lamprey. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right. And the Wasp is 3x3. The Lamprey is 3x3. Yeah, and the Shrike is 3x3. Okay, cool. There we go. And then we have Xaryxian. We have Squad B, Squad C. Hey, watch me attempt to type. This is some real peak streaming entertainment for you folks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Squad G and then Squad H. Star Moth, 4x4. Let's not do that. Let's do this instead. Copy, paste, 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 paste. There. Right on. I'm glad. At least somebody cares, right? It's I know what I'm doing is the right thing to do. It's just anything that's worth doing, it's gonna take a while to get done. So let's look at Vocath's crab. Alone, 10x10. Allies equals 5, 10, 19, 29. And here, let's do this right. 9 by 9. 10 by 10. 5 by 5. This could technically, these two together could technically be 10 by 10. But we haven't broke up into separate squads because of players, more players. Like one character can control Vocath's crab, another character can control Bird Squad. A third character could control both Team Squad and Bug Squad if they wanted to, as in a single 500-foot square. But presumably it would be one for Bug Squad and then another for the Team Squadron. Everyone would be on the Team Squadron, commanding Bug Squad, Bird Squad, and Vocath's crab alongside their own ships. But so they'd be on Team Squadron, on the Team Squadron. But remotely controlling each of these with verbal commands, right? So that's the idea there. So 29 by 29 squares with a space. This is going to be 8 by 8. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's too many. Something's gone awry. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's only 6. That's what went wrong. Too many fleets. So 6 times 8 is 48. Xaryxian, let's go with because there's 2 squadrons per square. But the total is 48 by 48. So there is a significant disparage between their fleet versus our fleet. The rules are we only have to defeat 2 squadrons, 4 of the squadrons, 2 500-foot squares worth of ships. So 4 squadrons. It's 2 squares, but there's 4 squadrons in the 2 squares because it's a tight formation, right? It's just more efficient for the DM to be able to cram them into a single token and just up the amount of dice and up the amount of hit points that they can take, instead of breaking them up into smaller squadrons. The DM could break them up into double that, each 8 by 8 as its own squadron acting independently. But I think this is probably going to be the right way to frame it. My gut's telling me to frame it this way. If I need to change it, we'll learn that through testing. But there are 48 total, and after they've taken 32, lost 32 squares worth of ships, then the final squadron, Prince Zealot's squadrons will break and run. So, or if the team is able to attack Zealot's fleet directly, he'll run more quickly. So if you can ambush Zealot's fleet, yeah, then you can make him break morale sooner. So it's worth your team's time to zoom into the 50-foot scale and actually target his ship. It should be pretty easy to identify. It's the one with an adult dragon on it. So there's an adult dragon just chilling on the top deck of Zealot's ship because it's his spirit companion. So pretty easy to pick that one out. It's a solar dragon. The Xaryxian Empire has a slew of them that basically hang out in their sun. So he has a solar dragon pet. So that's the easy one to pick out. Shoot that one. There's also a good equalizer because Vocath's crab has a lightning bolt line effect, a 1 mile line of radiant damage, of force damage that he can deal with his crab through this lens that he has in the deck of his ship. Here, let me point this out. So he's going to be able to wing them pretty good right out the gate to be able to get some advantage going for the team. But let me peel apart Vocath's crab here for you real quick. Here's the original painted version. We've got ships crawling over it, but whatever. Let's peel open the top side. And actually, yeah, let's get rid of the star moths and the allies. Get those out of the way real quick. And so, Vocath's crab, peel it open. Top side. Here's the roof. So you can see the top. This giant damselfly is inside the tower as basically an escape ship. I should move this portion of the roof into this level here. Not this level. This level, above this level here, because that's where the actual roof would be at. It would actually be is above that. There's a dragonfly, a damselfly. There we go. Okay, so top floor here. There's a ramp, a descending ramp behind closed doors here. That descends into down this ramp to this door that opens. This is Vocath's private chambers. Secret door to be able to potentially get ahead of enemies. This is a ramp. This is a double door that leads into this basically a large commons room for Vocath. Door that leads up to the roof in case he wants to invite people that way. This descends a ramp that descends downward into here. It is the throne room. Doors that would open up into here. Doors that would open up into here. Doors again that open up, or doors open up here, descending further down into the servant quarter level, also the level where the docking, the ship docks are at. Kitchen, Vocath's kitchen, as well as double doors here that lead out into the arena. So people that are up here on the balcony overlooking the events inside of the arena. This is literally a waiter's double door, so you can prep food here and drinks and stuff. There's like libations and other like fun stuff in storage here. So servants can go kick through the double doors and start, giving beers and food and whatever to patrons that are along the wall here looking down into the arena. They can literally just walk out to their ship and take off. But then and then it keeps going down into the lower decks. But yeah, so this full thing is all built out here, and I am pretty damn happy with how it turned out. I'm gonna conceal that and add that back in. But yeah, so there's the ship, and that'll all be in the obviously in the thing when I publish on DMsGuild. But it is oh that's right, the whole damn it, the point of doing that, the reason I was peeling that apart in the first place is Vocath's crab. Bop, bop, bop. Okay, so the way that it works is open this back up, and there it is. Okay, so we peel it back open again. The roof, and so this is a lens that's embedded into the roof as a weapon. It's powered by. Come on, buddy. There. On this level, there's a mirror of soul trapping that's mounted here. And Vocath is literally right above it, within range of the item to issue a verbal command. And when you do, it projects whatever creature's stored inside of it. It has a number of different creatures that it then just projects here into the arena. The arena floor is a couple levels down, so it's not apparent. Like white space is just open space in this. So the mirror angles down and just projects the creature into the arena. When it's defeated, not killed, it gets pulled back in the mirror so it can long rest and heal itself. But the mirror can angle itself up towards the lens in the roof. And then it can amplify that effect using the amplification rules that we have to become a force laser effect that channels the magic from projecting through the lens to be able to hit a target a mile away. It could either project and have a creature land at the location that it's targeting, like we could drop a megapede onto Prince Zel's ship to fight the dragon and to disrupt that ship. And then it could turn and then project a couple Braxit or other monstrosities onto some of the other ships just to harass them. But then Vocath would lose all his creatures. Instead, he can just open up a channel of just raw force damage from the mirror, channel it through the lens, and act as a lightning bolt that'll hit any target within 1 mile of the ship. So that's the range of ranged combat, up to a mile away. So then it can just, death ray. So then you can just hit him with the energy attack with that. And since the size of the ship is 9 or 10 squares in size, it would be rolling a d12. It's siege damage, so it's multiplied by 10, and the number of dice that it would roll would be 1, 2, 3. Your size divided by 2, rounding up, it would be 5. So it would be 5d12 times 10 energy damage, force damage once per round, and whoever's in the line of fire gets to make a dexterity saving throw for half damage. It's just a lightning bolt spell, but it does 5d6 damage, and that's 5d12 times 10 damage. That's your opening silo, like your opening shot against the fleet when they come into range. So that would be death ray equals 1 mile. Say dex save half 5d12 times 10 damage. On average, that means it's going to do about 350 points of damage, and a single star moth can take 400. So on average, it's going to do just about enough damage to be able to destroy one of these ships, unless they succeed a saving throw. So if we line up a shot with this guy, let's bring all our guys back in. Allies, star moths. If I then use my energy weapon and shoot, say, this squadron here, all the ships in that squadron are going to have to make a saving throw against the weapon attack. It would be done as the commander of that squadron would make a single dexterity saving throw, and if successful, half damage across the board. If it fails, then everyone is going to take full damage. So then that would be 4 ships that are dinged for almost 100% damage right off the bat, or are each knocked down to half. So the commander can divide up the damage as you please. So you could completely destroy 2 ships, and the other ships wouldn't take any damage. So you can divide it up that way. You can either parse it out amongst multiple ships, or you can have one ship be. You can have some ship, like you can stack all the damage onto as little ships as possible, and then sacrifice those ships. The only the problem with that is once you eliminate ships from your fleet loses dice of damage. Like this 9 squares worth of galleons firing together as a first rank squadron is only doing 94 times 10 siege damage. But if you it does 94 times 10 siege damage, but if you knock off the ship, it would drop to 64. So every time you remove a ship from your squadron, it reduces the amount of dice of damage that you roll. So you want to try to keep your ships as long as possible. Or the DM, conspiring for your team's success, could decide that they don't want. If the elves are selfish, they'll sacrifice entire ships to protect the rest of the fleet, just letting them be obliterated. So it's the difference between heroism and villainy. Villains make other people take a hit for you, while heroes try to protect everybody together. That's a different in philosophy. Your characters are trying to preserve all the ships in battle because you're hoping to make them your allies and that they will trust you. So you're going to want to divide up damage as much as you can across the ships to sacrifice as few as possible. While the elves are more than happy to sacrifice one of their ships if it means the rest of them can be safe. So, kind of a dick move. The way the area of effect, if it's single shots, you can load up all the ships to take the hit. Like it can like literally get in the way of all the shots and get destroyed as a result of it from that volley of shots that's coming in from a fleet. But when it's AOE damage, you can't. More than one ship is going to have to take damage because of the AOE effect. Technically, it should be all 4 ships take equal amount of damage, whether or not the commander succeeds the saving throw or not. But you could also break up the action economy so that the pilot of each ship makes the saving throw. And I could just roll a single die to represent each of them, or I could roll 2 dice for this squadron and this squadron, or I could roll 4 dice for each ship individually. It depends on how much I want to break down the action economy to assist the team. So like when Vocath is firing, I might decide to roll 2 dice, and one of them saves for taking like say around 175 damage a pop, and this one fails. So like if the team does say 500 damage, these each take 250 damage, and these are completely obliterated. It just depends on what the team rolls is going to define how I want to break up the damage if I can, or how I'll break up the saving throws. So it's fun. You can tinker with it and really mash it down like that. So the DM is going to be, since we can deal that 5d12 times 10 damage. Let's see, DM process. When Vocath Death Ray equals each squadron saves dex saves, because this is going to most likely result in more ships being destroyed for having done that. So our DM is conspiring for our success to help even the odds more quickly. This is going to eliminate half of one of those squadrons right away. So instead of them coming in with 8d6 times 10 damage, that fleet is now coming in with only 4d6 times 10 damage, which is going to be something that your team can absorb. Now you have to deal with the other 2 fleets, and keep in mind, once 2 fleets are, as long as Zealous fleet remains, he can run away. He's fine with that. But as soon as the other squadrons that are protecting him are gone, that's when he runs away, and he'll leave behind ships to distract the team as he flies away to try to slow them down and attack them if they try to pursue him. So he'll sacrifice his entire fleet if he needs to escape, because he's going to be the emperor someday, so he has to survive, and he doesn't care how many people he loses. He still has more ships back at the base. So that's the idea. So we're starting to, so literally right now we're parsing out how much damage do these things do, and how can we parse this. I keep saying parse. How can I divide up action economy and damage absorption amongst these fleets, these squadrons in the enemy fleet, so that the team has a chance of surviving and multiple ships surviving with you. So that's the idea. So let's look at this. This is going to be Team Squadron is so depending on what rank your character is determines the damage that they do when they operate together as a fleet. So if your crew, if your characters are 7th level when we have this encounter, and that's 2nd rank as a commander, 1 to 4, 5 to 8, 9 to 12, 13 to 16, 17 to 20. There's 5 ranks that your character gains, and you can command higher and higher rank crews effectively. At 7th level, the most efficient your crew can operate is as a 2nd rank crew. That 2nd rank crew improves the armor class of the ship's defenses by 2, and increases your damage die to a d6. 1st rank crew only rolls a d4. 2nd rank crew a d6. Up to 5th rank is a d12. If you're dealing individual ship damage, that ship can deal, depending on the size of the ship, can roll, it can do 2 squares as a d4, up to 4 squares as a d6, up to 6 squares of ship is a d8, 4 is, and then a Vocath's crab, which is a 10 by 10 space, occupies all the squares. It would then roll a d12 because it is so huge. compared to everyone else. It's dealing d12 damage dice. And the amount of damage that it rolls is divided between, you divide the number of squares, divide by 2, round up. 10 squares of Vocath Crab divided by 2 is 5. That's how we get to 5d12 times 10 damage. And that's an energy weapon attack. We could assign it a reload score that you would have to, like a recharge die, which would typically be like a d6, and then plus your rank, and then your target number is a 6. So I'd be rolling a d6. In this case, Vocath is let me double check that real quick. I think Vocath is 2nd rank, but let's go to D&D Beyond, where I have the adventure on file here, and then let's go to Boo's Astral Menagerie, and then let's look up the Mercane here, and let's see what level they are. Their CR is going to determine their rank, Vocath's rank. CR 11. That puts Vocath, I think, at 4th rank. Hold on. Let me double check here. Let's go back to the beginning of the combat chapter. Actually, it's the ship rolls that we want. That's where it describes your character's rank. Here. Ship roll. Here you go. CR, creature CR. 10 to 13 is 4th rank. So Vocath would have a +4 on his recharge die. So on a 6, he'd be rolling a d6 +4 to recharge that weapon. It's basically, it always recharges. So basically, it would require a reload action, like a bonus action or an attack action, to be able to get up and running again. But it can't fire more than, let's say, once. Maybe we can have it eat a bonus action to fire it, and it automatically reloads every round. That means we're going to be able to nuke down ships pretty fucking fast with that crab. Unfortunately, that crab is not going to be joining your fleet during the battle. He's not getting directly involved. It's just because they're coming to attack his base specifically that he swats them away. But he's going to leave the allies and the characters to actually dealing with the fleet themselves. So, but this is coming along. So Death Ray, 5d12 times 10 damage. It's melee weapon attacks equals 2d12 times 10 because rams deal. No, sorry, it's 1d12 times 10 as a melee weapon attack. Ram, piercing ram equals times 2 plus automatically grapple. Piercing leg melee weapon attacks, and then there's the crab claw melee weapon attacks equals 5d12 times 10. No, that's not right. It's 1d12 times 10. On hit, auto grapple bonus action equals crush 1d12 times 10. So if I catch you and you grapple with the claw, I can automatically, with a bonus action, deal another 1d12 times 10 damage. This is not where the firepower for this ship comes from. Where the real firepower from the ship comes from is the 10 trebuchet that it has on its underbelly. Let's go take a look at that real quick. belly. There, so this is the underside of the ship. There's room for a cargo ship to land and this loading claw to be able to put that material into the interior of the ship. But this is a ring of trebuchet. That's 10d8 times 10 range damage that you can deal with those. Trebuchet. Volley times 10 equals 1 equals 10d8 times 10. So that's a lot of Mai Tai. That's up to 800 damage that this single volley of trebuchet can deal. But it takes a while to reload. It would have a reload score of 70 on a D10, which is impossible. So it basically takes 10 actions to reload all these weapons to be a full volley again. These are all automated weapons. They are animated, so they are sentient unto themselves. But it takes 7 actions to reload a trebuchet. So basically, you can do a full volley for 10d8 times 10 damage. That's an attack roll, and you basically have that also as an opening silo, which will deal up to 800, most likely about 400 damage to a squadron, which again will eliminate a single ship. So in the first opening volley of them approaching Vocath, he is going to destroy probably 3 out of 4 ships right off the cuff. So instead of this being a 48 by 48, it is going to drop almost immediately down to a 36, which is a lot more manageable. But it won't be able to fire a volley like that again over the course of the round unless the characters invest a lot of action economy in helping reload all those weapons by basically using their action economy to order like this one, like Vocath will order this one and this one to reload. Another character could, like a fighter, could use their bonus action, action, attack to get those reloaded. And then like a cleric could use like a bonus action and an action to reload those. And then maybe there's like a barbarian on a team, bonus action, attack. The team basically has to take off this round other than reactions, so that next round they could fire another volley like this. That might not be the most efficient way to do it. It could be though. We won't know until we test it a little bit and mash out the numbers. But you know what? I'm supposed to have a timer going and I don't. I should have about 20 minutes left tonight for me to mess around with this. So right now we're just punching down numbers. Trebuchet equals 10d8 times 10 requires 10 actions to fully reload. The reload score is a 7 minus the rank of 2. So it'd actually be a reload score of 5, but at this level our characters only have a d6 command die. So they'd have to roll a 5 or a 6 on a d6 for an individual trebuchet to reload. But when you fire multiple siege weapons together, you add up all the reload score. And if you can't hit that number on your d6, in this case it'd be a 50. If you can't hit that 50 on a d6, then you have to spend individual actions to reload each weapon in kind, because you weren't able to get them to coordinate their actions. So yeah, between 3 or 4 characters, you can get all of them reloaded in one round, but it's gonna eat up all your action economy yelling at them to do it. Which might be fine, because then in the next round as commander you can issue them to fire them all again. So as long as your entire team works together, like you'll still have movement, you can still move your ships, you can still use reactions to defend your ship. But if the characters want to sink all of their action economy, they can fire this every round, and every round it'll pretty much destroy one ship. And then on the top side, Vocath's crab, his lightning shot will be able to line up and hit a whole squadron and knock out probably on average 2 ships per round. So this crab by itself can take can knock out 3 ships per round. and there's only 12 of them. So in 4 rounds, it can completely destroy everything. That would mean that the squadron wants to soak damage, as much damage as possible on Vocath's crab. Let the crab be the heavy cannon, and let all the allied ships around it help absorb damage so that the crab isn't destroyed. Let's play a little bit more with defenses. Let's actually do this like weapons and then defenses. Shielding legs. Equals as a reaction. Leg shields the crab from taking direct damage, sacrificing the leg. Lose the leg. So when a like if 8d6 times 10 damage comes in and it's gonna deal 300 damage, and the crab doesn't want to soak that damage, it can instead use its leg to basically shield itself from taking the hits, and then the leg is destroyed. So it takes no damage, but it loses a leg, and obviously it can do that 6 times before it runs out of defenses. But at any time, one of the allied squadrons could choose to occupy space with the crab, and these ships could start absorbing damage for the crab instead. So while the crab lasts, it has 6 shots that it can take, and there's 3 volleys per round coming off of these moths. So basically, it's going to be able to survive for 2 rounds without taking any damage from all those moths coming in. And at that point, the team should be causing enough trouble to the squadrons as well, that now the squadrons have to think about, are we going to attack the crab, which is shredding us, or are we going to deal with these smaller threats that are coming in at us? So I think for the first round, it'll be Vocath versus the squadrons. And the idea here is to hide, there's these clouds. The idea is to hide the squadrons inside of these cloud banks, so that when the Star Moth closes distance with with Vocath's crab, they'll pop out and ambush them. So for the first 2 rounds, it'll just be the characters' ships and Vocath's crab occupying that space, and then the allied fleets can be hidden in the cloud bank. So the character acting like a hero, putting themselves out as bait to take this damage, knowing that while they're commanding Vocath's crab with them, they can occupy space with the crab, so they won't have, so the elves won't have control over which ship gets hit. So the team can decide, there's 3 volleys coming in at us. Do we want to distribute the damage between the ships that we have, and then also let Vocath's crab absorb hits by losing limbs, or do we want to take more of the damage directly ourselves, and Vocath's crab takes some damage and then holds off those limbs for being able to deflect hits if they get focused on fire? Like, assumedly, opening volley, it'll be the laser, it'll be all siege weapons fire, but your allies are hiding in the clouds. So once the Star Moths commit to closing distance, that's when your allies can pop out of the clouds and flank them and attack them from behind and get free attacks on them without taking any damage. So there'll be basically 2 rounds of attack coming in on Vocath and the team, and by the time they realize what's happening, the allies are swooping in behind them and attacking them as well. You've got 2 squadrons of allies that are attacking the now weakened squadrons. At the second round, there should probably be a whole squadron lost off of the elves team, and then the team just has to hold off another like 2 or 3 rounds for the second squadron to go down and to start damaging Zealot's squadron, and that's when he's going to run. So this really is only going to be a 4-round combat. I think this is going to work. It's the crab tanking damage that's really going to allow this thing to work, using that reaction. So, and if you have multiple characters that are in command, they can each use reactions themselves during a turn to have multiple limbs move in position to take damage. So that would work. And that would mean that we would have 3 separate volleys, attack, 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 coming in to hit the fleet. So DM process each squadron dex. Death rate equals 1 squadron per round. Dex or damage. Let's see. DM process. 3 star moths. Fire. 3 star moth squadrons. Target Vocath's crab. In response to being attacked. Because we're starting the fight. The elves are coming in and we don't want them to get near. We'll have a 10-minute advanced warning to know that these ships are coming in. And we've already fought with multiple star moths. And the person that... okay, spoiler alert. Princess Zedalia is with you. She knows that Prince Zelith is next in line. And she recognizes his ship. That's Zelith's ship. She'll be able to point that out to you when he sees it. So you know Zelith is there. So he's going to have a target painted on his back. That's what your team is going to want to do. So you can be attacking his squadron to make him run. And then he leaves his other squadrons behind to try to slow your team down while he escapes. This is going to work. So Zedalia knows that's there. And Zedalia wants him dead. Because if he's dead, she becomes the heir. She becomes emperor. And he won't be there to get in the way of it. So she wants him dead. So she's going to rat him out. That's his ship. Target that ship. So that's the directions that your team can provide to your allied teams. Attack that special ship. They'll focus fire on that. It's going to eat up the 3 star moths that are flanking him inside that squadron. And once those ships are gone, you've got an open shot. So let's see if we're looking at... Zelith's squadron. Zealous envoys, zealous escorts. So let's break it up like this. Zealous ship, zealous wing, .400 H points. H points. I spy with my eye something that is text. Hot second. Well, hey, Rel, how you doing? I'm sorry, 800. Yeah. This is how it should be done. Thank you. South Wing A, South Wing B, South Wing C. 400, 400, 400. Total of 1,600. Okay, that all maths out. So, I'm doing the statistical breakdown for the fleet battle. So the Spelljammer fleet battle that we've been messing around with for the past 28 episodes, all the mapping is now done. Now we're charting out the damage, like what would how would this combat play out, and what guidance do I need to provide for a DM so that they can play this out. It's the players might not be tactical geniuses, so we want to provide them guidelines. If you want to ambush them, you can hide in the cloud banks. If you want to do a direct assault, you can have the ships occupying the 500-foot space with the battle crab. So we're going to have a couple different configurations, all tanking together in a single 500-foot square, which is feasible. Then have them disperse, so the characters of Vocath's crab act as decoys, and then the two allied squadrons flank and hide in the cloud banks. There might be another way to configure the battle, but that seems to be like either straightforward or sneaky. You can do one way or the other. And the sneaky way, we just talked about the sneaky way, so that has obvious advantages. And then we also talked about how well the Vocath crab can tank damage by sacrificing its legs. So that works out. That all actually works out really, really well. Let's see. Let's go with Alpha squadrons. And then let's go with Theta squadrons. Wait, I need that. So yeah, I'm basically pushing text around a lot and just talking about the mechanics and occasionally referencing the book that we published. So it's yeah, we're just basically going through the thought process of how does this battle work. So if a squadron deals more than 400 points of damage with attacks, like with an attack roll, if it deals more than 400 damage, it can either sacrifice a ship, or it can divide up to like 100, 100, 100, 100 across that fleet, right? So you can break up the damage amongst multiple ships, or you can just pile it all into a single ship and eliminate it. So we talked about that already. The Xaryxians would prefer to eliminate a ship and come back with more ships wholly intact than to damage all of them. So, because they're evil and they're selfish like that. Yawn. Let's see. Attack equals 1d20 plus their rank, which is plus their second rank, and then because their second rank is a d6. So that is the attack roll. If they do melee weapon attacks, then it would be a 1d20 plus. Well, their pilot has probably has a 16 dexterity, so it'd be like a d20 plus 5 to hit. But the armor class you're going to have, like your ship is going to have like an armor class 15. So you basically got a 50-50 shot of getting hit each time. Unless, because d6 devolves to on average a 3 plus 2, 15. You're going to roll a 10 on average, or 16. So there's like a 55% chance these guys are going to hit your squadron at any given time. Vocath's crab would have a higher armor class. It's a single metal ship. So its AC equals 18 because that's how metal works, and HP equals 1000 because that's how that's 100 times the number of squares that your ship occupies. That's why it has those leg kickers, because it would seem like intuitively, if this is a single ship, that's like a single 500-foot block occupies a lot more space than these 4 ships do individually. That's debatable depending on how the ship actually sits inside of the space, to be perfectly honest. So there's a lot of wiggle room and shorthandedness that goes into the squadron stuff, but this is not fully occupying a 500-foot space. It would arguably be only occupying about half of it, which is about the amount of space that these star moths occupy. But even these star moths in their 200-foot space, there's a lot of empty space here. Its hit points are abstractions. They aren't literally how much you can tank. It just represents how combat capable your ship is, how much abuse can it take. So that's why we have the leg shields, so that we can have it sit at the 1000 points, but use its limbs to be able to make sacrificial attacks. We could theoretically do that like with the Wasp ship. That could sacrifice attacks. That would be a probably like a really fun ship mod that you can integrate into your ship. That, like, if you have limbs, you could use those limbs to tank damage for you, and then the limb gets destroyed, so you lose it. That'd be a fun way for you to be able to have additional armor, like plot armor, on your ship. Scorpion too, 6 legs, like the death spiders or the night spiders, the giant yogi spider ships. They have 8 legs, so they could theoretically take 8 hits by sacrificing their legs for damage. It's a fun little variant that we can add in like as layer actions, you know, which is something that we could add on as a like a tack-on mechanic for doing this. Like, hey, here's some extra ways that you can play with action economy and your ship's resources. Armor class is 18, hit points is 1000. We already went through the weapons. So every time we lose a leg, we lose that as an option to make an attack with. Oh, man. And so we are just about out of time. I've got 30 seconds left, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it up. And so when we come back on Monday, we're going to look at how much damage and hit points the allied squadrons can take and deal, and we'll see how much the Xaryxians... Oh, crap, no, I won't be here on Monday. That's right, because on the 29th, we're starting our 5th level playtesting for martial powers on my Discord channel. So, oh, that's right, and that means that on Saturdays we're going to... So this is Thursday. Saturday morning, I'll be back on here. And I'm going to have a special early Saturday morning session starting at 7 a.m. Seattle time. And we're going to go for 2, maybe 3 hours. So Saturday morning, we're going to work on this and flesh that out. And then on Tuesday and Thursday, on Monday night, we'll have our playtest. We'll have playtest session 0, building characters and setting expectations, doing all the session 0 stuff that you should. Having the team get on board with what we're doing, and then Tuesday and Thursday lunchtime, and then Saturday the following week, we're going to continue fleshing out the adventure for the tile, the land tile, the blue-red tile that the team is going to be exploring and fighting monsters and stuff like that. Yeah, so I'll be back tomorrow morning to continue working on tree tokens. For the Eberron Forest map that we're designing, and then we'll be back at lunch tomorrow to work on the Martial Powers playtest, blue-red land tile adventure zone, and then Saturday morning we'll work on Xaryxian. Maybe we'll work on Xaryxian for like an hour and a half, and then we'll switch over and we'll continue working on the playtest Hex. I think that's what we'll do. That makes most sense. But that's it for me for now. I'm going to bounce out of here, guys. As always, thanks a lot for everyone that showed up and for hanging out. This book is on the DM's Guild. It's in the description down below. Spelljammer, Combat, and Exploration. Here's the book cover, so you'll find it when you see it. And Spelljammer, Combat, and Exploration. There you go. So we're doing a lot of stuff here. If you guys think this stuff is cool, like, subscribe, bell icon, get notifications of when we're doing stuff in the future. Let's see, fleets. Here we go. Looking at fleets. And that's it. So thanks a lot, guys. I'll be back in the morning. Cheers.